Hi friends, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something that happens when you are a canner, homesteader, from scratch, um, ingredient kitchen. Anytime that you are making things, there's almost always a discard of some fashion or some part of the item that you're making that has a second part to it that you don't always use the whole time. Today we're going to talk about cranberries. So this is a jar of cranberry juice. It's from last year. This is from right before Christmas. I think it's November 12th. So it's literally almost been a month. And the discard we're going to talk about are the berries themselves. When you go to make the cranberry juice, you need the cranberries, but they sit in here. And then when you go to pour this out, you pour the cranberries into a strainer and you mush them. And you get this, the cranberries themselves. And this is the discard. And I am not one to waste things. I'm going to use everything that I have for all kinds of reasons. One, there's nothing wrong with these. They're still perfectly good cranberries. They taste good. They're mushy, but that's okay. They're actually really good for baking or whatnot. Last year, I made most of my cranberries into craisins. So I took the cranberries and I put them in a bowl and tossed them with some sugar. And then I just put them in my dehydrator and I just dehydrated them and I made them into craisins, and they're great to put in to your oatmeal in the morning. They're really good if you want to put them in homemade granola bars or just to snack on. I mean, if you've ever eaten a craisin, you know what it is. Mine were a little darker, but I don't know if that's just because I had my heat on a higher heat. But this year I didn't want to do that. And although I really love cranberry juice, I've almost finished the one that I opened today. It means that I would make another one. And last year I had quite a bit all at once because we were using it to flavor the spirits my husband made. But I have cranberry discard. So I've decided I think I'm gonna make cranberry oatmeal cookies with some chocolate chips in them. So come along, we're gonna have fun with it.
All right, first things first, we're going to take our cranberry discard, and we are going to chop it up. Now, my recipe actually called for fresh cranberries, just cut in half, but I decided that I was going to chop them, thinking that I could get a little bit more cranberry through the cookie mix, but my husband told me after the fact that he wished I wouldn't have chopped them so fine because he didn't feel like he was really tasting the cranberries. Note to self, I will change that for next time. I did agree with him. I would have liked to taste the cranberry a little bit more, but that's okay. I think I also might have added like a teaspoon of actual cranberry juice to it also. When you are putting the cranberries in the jar and you put them in the water bath canner, it does cook them a little bit. And of course, the whole purpose is to take the juice out of there. And although it still tastes like a cranberry, it's not as potent as normal cranberry taste. Now, to a separate bowl, we are adding all of our dried ingredients for our cookies. That is going to be 3 cups of flour. All purpose is fine, bleached or unbleached, whichever you have on hand. Both of those work. We're going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is a fall cookie, so most fall recipes when it comes to baking include cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, those things. I also think next time I might add a touch of nutmeg to this, not just the cinnamon, because my husband was so funny. He goes, "Did you put pumpkin spice in this?" And I was like, "No, I just put cinnamon." And he goes, "Oh, well, I kind of was thinking pumpkin spice." And I said, "No, not pumpkin spice, but whatever." We're also going to add a teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And I'm giggling at myself because while I was doing this, I was thinking I really need to put this baking soda in a container, and I got distracted, and it's still in this box. It's going in this container today. Don't worry, I'm going to hook it up. Then you're going to mix it all together to make sure that it's well incorporated so that you don't get clumps of baking soda or salt or, a big bite of spice. Once you've mixed that pretty well, it should look about like that. In my new to me KitchenAid, we are going to mix a cup of room temperature butter, salted preferred, a half a cup of packed brown sugar. This is dark brown sugar, and I was having trouble getting it out of there because I packed it really well. And as you can see, it did not want to come out. And we're also going to add a half a cup of regular white sugar. And just a second, but I was having to scoop it out. There we go. There's my fourth, and we'll do that again, which makes half a cup. And you're just going to mix this till it's blended well. And then we're going to take a moment to scrape the sides down because although this KitchenAid bowl is deep, and you also need a splash of vanilla. Although this KitchenAid is deep, as you add stuff, it like all gets up on the edges, but that's okay. I can work that out. Not a problem. Once you've got your dry ingredients mixed well, we're going to start adding in our wet ingredients. So we will be adding 2 eggs to this mixture. We're going to crack one individually and beat them separately so that they mix well into the batter. Because if you put them together, sometimes they clump. It's amazing what happens if you don't mix well. There's clumping. No one likes clumping. I don't want, clumpy in my cookie unless it's supposed to be a chunk. But we're going to add each of these individually. And once we've incorporated both of them well, we're then going to slowly add in our dry ingredients, our dry mix that we just made. And you want to do this a little bit at a time for a couple of reasons. If you try to add all of the flour mixture right away, it's probably going to floof up in your face and you're going to lose part of the flour that you need for your cookies. Also, it makes it really difficult to mix in well when you try to add it all at once. Now, in between each of these little bits that I'm doing, I'm also turning the KitchenAid off and scraping the walls to make sure I get all of it well incorporated. Once you've done that, we're going to add 3 cups of steel oats to our mix. And then we are going to add a cup of chocolate chips. I had minis open. I think next time I'll do a full-sized and our cut up cranberries. And then you're going to take this bowl and you are going to put it in the freezer for 15 to 25 minutes so that your dough gets nice and cool. Because if you don't, your dough is going to like smush out and melt and your cookies won't hold. My husband thought these were drop cookies, no bake drop cookies. And they just, I think because the dough still wasn't that way. Then I'm going to take a baking spray and spray my cookie scoop. And I got about 12 cookies per sheet. So I ended up with 44 cookies, give or take. And again, half of them are going in my freezer for Thanksgiving. That way I don't have to do all my baking at once. Some changes I think I will make to this recipe next time. Full-size chocolate chips and maybe some walnuts or some pecans. But there was a cookie and it was pretty tasty. Enjoy.